You are now tuned in to Hits 92.3, where we take great pride in personal expression of one's feelings, thoughts, or ideals. What you're getting ready to hear on this show are the opinions of the hosts and their guests, and they do not reflect the opinions of Hits 92.3 radio station, the brand, management, staff, their respective advertisers, parent companies, or affiliates. Now stay tuned as this show begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is All Hustle, No Fear on Hits 92.3. And every morning you wake up with us because we rock your mic.
Mm-hmm. How big is your mic, Sunshine?
Big enough to interview you with.
Can't let my heart show on my sleeve. Ain't missed the cold yet from the streets. Spin round the block like I got beef. Baby, I'm like that, you gon' see. These are words of affirmation. You should want me to be more than another situation. You should want me to be more than another situation.
Yeah, we double drinking, the vibe is peaking, we geeking. There's something speaking straight to my soul, fully breathing. She got the feeling like 90s R&B, I'm tweaking. To ever leave her, it probably never be a reason. A soul shaker, a twerker, a business owner, a real friend that's still cool if you don't talk, you grown up. A love pusher, peace empowerment, mamacita. Back when I met her, she was sipping a Lime-A-Rita. A forward thinker, still be throwing it back on me. And if I'm lacking, she gon' pick up that slack for me.
Can't let my heart show on my sleeve. Ain't missed the cold yet from the streets. Spin round the block like I got beef. Baby, I'm like that, you gon' see. These are words of affirmation. You should want me to be more than another situation. You should want me to be more than another situation.
Big booty, slapping it when you get moody. Confident, you never tripping, I get groupie. Never dolo, ride with me even on promo. Album cover, even help me design logo. A fresher too, in it cause we got deeper roots. Remember boo, the balconies in our birthday suit. That yellow coupe, Los Angeles in that Pikachu. I peeked at you, and now I'll forever see the truth.
Let my heart show on my sleeve. Ain't missed the cold yet from the streets. Spin round the block like I got beef. Baby, I'm like that, you gon' see. These are words of affirmation. You should want me to be more than another situation. You should want me to be more than another situation. You should want me, but maybe I'm from the wrong generation.
Hey, the secret's out. Hits 92.3 is now accepting submissions for brand new shows. That's right, you could become a radio personality right here on Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio. You don't have experience? That's okay. You don't live in Georgia? That's okay. You don't know what to do now? Now that's not okay. But your girl is here to help you out. Email us today at hits923newshow@gmail.com and tell us about your potential show with Hits. Again, that email address is hits923newshow@gmail.com. Don't be last. The slots are filling fast.
I can't believe I let you in and told you all my deepest secrets. You told me I'm expensive, but you treated me the cheapest. Thank God you let me go. I didn't know how much I needed this. I almost settled for you. Oh, think I should do what you do. Oh, and now your colors are true. Took me a while, but I knew I'm so disgusted with you. Oh, not an arrow shot by Cupid. You really had me thinking I was dumb, naive and stupid. I'm done with these excuses. You'll never pull me through this again.
My name is Dr. Siobhan Fleming, and I am a proud candidate for Clerk of Superior Court in Clayton County, Georgia. I'm a product of Clayton County Public Schools, Jonesboro High School alum, a resident of Clayton County for almost 30 years, raised in Lake Spivey, and now reside in Lovejoy. I hold approximately 25 years of administrative, business, and clerical experience, most right here in Clayton County. Administration is the backbone to any business. The clerk position is a vital piece of the court systems. Superior customer service, organization, follow-up, and increased digitalization is what I plan to bring to the system. Visit me on the World Wide Web at www.voteforfleming.com.
So it seems I got some enemies, yeah. I can feel it in your energy, yeah. I see you hating on what's meant to be, but a nigga too blessed to be stressed out. I'm too blessed, I'm too blessed to be stressed out. I'm too blessed, I'm too blessed to be stressed. We've been kicking it hard for a minute. I cherish the memories all that we've been through. I guess that I didn't prepare for the moment that we couldn't work through our issues. Difference between us and time is the reason that really I can't even blame you. It is what it is. I gotta forgive. Shit, I don't wanna change you. I gotta respect we had a connection. That shit was the truth. The natural selection. I call it divine intervention. No lessons when I was a youth. Had different direction. We had to define our blessings for trying to get in the game. I still came through in the clutch. Fourth quarter with range. I'm calling static on the line. Lose my senses. Destined for greatness while stuck in place with my mental dedication. But still at times I will forget myself. Caught up in some shit. Hesitation I probably felt because of empty validation from somebody else. I never wanted to be amongst some. Watch your step, take me back to realer times when we was fine. We could talk without the drama. Now we fuss and fight, living life, bonding over trauma. I release you, girl. Said I release you, girl. Yeah. Said I release you, girl. Said I release you, yeah. Cause tides turn, baby. Tides turn. I'm so wavy, yeah. So baby, don't chase me. I hope you get home safely, yeah. Cause tides turn, baby. Tides turn. So wavy, yeah. So baby, don't chase me. I hope you get home safely. I really don't know what we're gonna be.
disturbing my peace. Really feel it's time now. We need some time and some space, so I gotta let you know, gotta put you back in your place, and then I gotta move on, just move on, move on, move on, just move on, move on, just move on, move on, move. 'Cause time's up, baby, time's up, time's up. I'm so wavy, yeah. So baby, don't chase me. I hope you get home safely, yeah. 'Cause time's up, baby, time's up, time's up. I'm so wavy, yeah. So baby, don't chase me. I hope you get home safely.
I just want to run my business and do relationship with my friends, and that's it. That's it. That's it.
You are now tuned in to All Hustle and No Fear with your girl, the Hood Unicorn. Come on, let's go.
Back against the wall, last name against the rope. Middle finger stretched, if you thinking it's a joke, tell my friend I'm about to blow, 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 about to blow.
Ooh, I'm about to blow. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How y'all doing out there? It is your girl Sunshine Reigns, aka Griselda Blanca, aka You Need a Motivator, aka the Party Starter. But you tune in each and every morning because I am your Hood Unicorn. I'm here to wake you up with positivity, motivation, current events, great interviews, and a whole lot of laughter. Now, look, I know it's Friday, and I know typically on Friday we just talk about the craziness that's going on around on this rock that we spinning on. But right now, what's most important to me is that we talk to people who care about us, who see something going on in the community and they either like it or they don't like it. And a lot of times it's that they don't like it and they want to help enact change. And so today we are spending the day with the Honorable, I love that on your, with the Honorable Valencia Stovall. She is running for District 34.
Yes.
In the Senate of Georgia. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to have a conversation with her today. First, let's go ahead and start with that because I think more people need to be educated on certain things. You have a Senate for your state and you have the Senate federal, okay? So you need to know that. So let's answer that right there. How do we get to vote for federal Senate seats, or are those how are those acquired?
All right, so you all remember when you were in school and you had the three branches of government: legislative, executive, and judicial.
Right.
So the legislative branch are your state elected officials and your federal elected officials. And of course, on the local, it would be your mayor and city council would be considered your legislative branch. So on the federal level, you have 2 U.S. senators for every state.
Right.
So our 2 U.S. senators are elected by everyone who is a registered voter in the state of Georgia.
There we go. And the last ones that we elected, that's when we was fighting to make sure that we didn't get dude from Texas to be our representative. So one of our representatives, she laughing. I had her cracking up in here already. She already know what she done got herself into. So one of our state state Senate would be Raphael Warnock.
Yeah, so he would be your U.S. So there's Warnock and Senator Ossoff. So those are two on the federal level. Now on the state level, you are voting your senators by district or where you live.
Okay.
So there are 236 elected officials that represent you across the state of Georgia. 180 are in the House, which I used to be a state representative. That's why I have the title honorable.
Okay.
And then you have 56 that are your senators that represent you across the state of Georgia. So when you're going into the polls to vote, you only have one representative and one senator that represents you that you're able to vote for.
Okay. And District 34 is where?
It is located in Clayton and Fayette, so it takes up 2 counties.
Okay. Okay. So you got a big area over there.
There's about 190-something thousand people that I would represent.
And see, this is the thing about that. Now watch this. On average, about how many people come out to vote? Because you just said 197,000.
Yeah, so I'm usually less than 28%. Excuse me, y'all. Big campaigning. So it's usually a very, very slim amount. And that's the sad part about it, because you're letting a small number of people
decide
what your everyday life is going to look like. And when we're at the state capitol, when they're voting, when I was there voting, we had to vote for the entire state of Georgia. So even though I was elected at that time, I had District 74 as a state rep. And there was about 50-something thousand people that we were responsible for. But when I got to the state capitol, in those 40 days, I voted on issues about the entire state of Georgia. So you have to be making sure you're well versed in what's going on. I did a lot of traveling across the state to make sure, especially in rural Georgia, because
their needs are different.
They are very different from Metro. And so, that was exciting because I got a chance to see other things and being able to compare and bring things back to my community as well.
So what brings you to a place of wanting to run for office? Like what brought you to the place? Honey, I told you a few minutes ago, you ain't got to worry about seeing me in politics. I know y'all hear me making fun and being like Sunshine for President 2050, but I'm not passing that test. I'm not. Soon as the Secret Service start asking my friends questions, we out. We out. We out of this. They gonna be like, your whole family on this side is a liability. I got one cousin that's gonna be like, why you want to know all that about me? She running. So what? I'm thinking about my cousin saying that for real.
Well, we all have cousins like that, because I have some as well. But how I got started in politics, my dad was Lovett Stovall. He's 83 years old now. Okay. And he was very involved in the community, and I was growing up. He also was integral part of the late Mayor Maynard Jackson, who was the first African-American mayor to be elected for Atlanta and for any southern city. And so he helped in his campaign, his field operations, and his community liaison person. Both times when he was elected. And so my sisters and I have 2 sisters. And so following him around, the community, got us exposed a whole lot. And it was funny because when I first got elected down at the state capitol, some of the people that I saw down there was some my dad had helped to get elected.
Really?
Right. And so it was funny looking at them in the capacity. Now I'm serving in that capacity. And my dad was, one that helped. And we had a promotional printing business. So a lot of them did T-shirts for us. So they came by our shop and everything. And because of the work my dad has done, he actually has a bridge named after him. So if you're taking 75, 85 south or north, leaving out of Atlanta to University Avenue, the famous University Avenue where all the ruckus was taking place a while back. If there's a brown sign that says Lovett Stovall Bridge, well, that's my dad.
Okay, that's what's up. Cause see, I'm one of those people who, when I see the names of streets and stuff, I want to know who those people are. Yeah. And so next time I see that, I can tell my kids, hey, I know his daughter. Yeah. That's dope. That's really dope. I like the fact that you said that it's what we were exposed to. And that as kids, you saw this and it made you want to move in that space. You also do something with kids that exposes them. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. So when I was elected, I'm going to kind of go back a little bit. When I was first elected, One of the things was I always have been involved with PTA in schools and everything. And then as I was in office, I co-hosted the Back to School Block Party in Clayton County. We've been doing this year, will be our 7th year.
Okay.
We're bringing resources and everything to our families there in the county. And when I was elected, the year that I decided not to run back for re-election and retire, I created Georgia Youth Career Center.
Okay.
And so we don't have a physical location. I just put the word center in there because our focus is on our young people from middle school to even to young adults who might not know what direction they want to go in as towards career-wise. And so what we do is help to expose them to those careers that they probably normally would not even know anything about. And it's done through a software program that I found out about when I was elected called U Science, YOU in the word science. So it is an assessment that is done. You take it, they play the game like Minecraft. They ask random questions. And what it does is does a scientific analysis of what you're naturally talented in.
Really?
Yeah, and that's available to every middle and high school student in the state of Georgia that attends a public school.
You can just go on the website and just find out what your kid is into.
Right. So what they would need to do is talk to the school counselor to get the username and password, and then they can take their assessment from there. And it's a great assessment. I took it myself because I want to see how.
Yeah, I'm like, shoot, am I in my space? I want to take the assessment.
Yeah, and so it gives them 3 levels of careers. Some that they should go into, middle level, you might do good, and others that please stay away from. And it also gives them the salary. It gives them the job description. And now they've added in companies that actually are hiring in those particular fields or industries. So those are some of the things, and then we connect them with mentors in those fields where they want to be, the careers they want to go into. And I definitely always advise all parents and young people to expose yourself as much as possible. Do some job shadowing. Pick those top 5 or 6 areas that you're interested in and do it, because I think at the end of the day, if our young people are in areas that they feel comfortable, they have the self-esteem that they need, then we're going to see them as a better outcome. They're going to be more productive as citizens because they feel like they have something that they are good at doing and they appreciate it. But when they go in fields that they're not interested in, then we kind of see what we're seeing now.
Right. You got to chase your purpose, not your paper. So I actually said that the other day where I was like, I don't like how our system is set up when kids are coming out of school and moving into college, because you go from this very structured, you have to do this when I tell you, how I tell you, even down to using the restroom. You have to request access to use your bodily function. And then one day they give you a piece of paper, and the next day, you can pick when you want to go to class. If you want to go to class, you can pick what classes you want. You go from such a structured environment to a very lax environment or a more adult environment. And with this added pressure of you got to pick what you want to do now for the rest of your life. And it's like, well, I don't know what I want to do, right. So the exposure part is exactly what's missing, whether it's missing in the high school area or what I thought was like that gap year makes sense. If that gap year is being used to do what you're saying, to test the waters and find out if this is a job or if this, like intern places, like candy stripers. You never hear about candy stripers anymore. Or maybe y'all do, and I'm just not around with the kids that candy stripe. But that used to be a way to find out if you really wanted to be a nurse or if you wanted to be a doctor or whatnot. Because, hey, you got up in there, you saw that blood, and you saw everybody running around and realized no, I don't want to do this, or veterinarians or, just different positions. Cops. Ride along. Well, I don't know if I can ride along, but maybe working in the station or something. And I
Well,
don't know.
there's some that they have that are community liaisons in the community. I know that in Clayton, and even when I lived in Atlanta, at the community meetings, they would have the community relations officers. So that may be a good start, them being able to even go around with them to the community meetings. At least they're finding out what's
really going on in the neighborhood.
So those are some, but me running for office again was a hard decision, because I was like, do I want to go back and give up a lot of your personal time and sacrifices and all that. So you definitely have to have a heart for the people.
Yeah.
When you're running for office, because you're putting yourself out there exposed, just like with you as a radio personality. No matter where you go, somebody go, oh, that's her. So you have to watch almost everything that you're doing. But it's something that when that's your purpose and your mission, and you fight it, it don't go well for you. So you have to just walk in alignment with it. And so one of the top things that I be working towards, especially when dealing with our young people, are pushing for apprenticeship programs. I think that every child that graduates from our high school in Georgia should graduate with a trade. And what that does, they push them in position.
Can I vote? I can't vote. I'm not in your district. I can't vote for you because, baby, you speaking my language. There is no reason why everybody should go to a college prep track. And that seems like what they do. And they've taken trades out of school. It used to be that you could be in automotive class in school. What is that for? That's learning a trade to eventually be a mechanic. Same thing with the only school that I know of two. I know of Carver and Lithia Springs when I went to Lithia Springs back. We're not going to talk about that. But those were the only two schools that I knew of that had a cosmetology course that you could take. And then if you finish that course in school, you could just go take your state board test. Why do we not have more emphasis on kids working with their hands?
So you have the level that it was, of course, probably when we were in high school when it came to take courses. Definitely not the same level as towards that. But you have some school districts that have career academies, and then inside of some of the schools they have CTAE, which is career technology, agriculture, and engineering courses and pathways. So students can start off in 9th grade. By the time they finish 12th grade, some of them do have certifications that they can get, but that's kind of optional. And then
it's kind of hush hush, like they don't. Yeah, you don't go to the PTA meeting and they're telling you all about it, or that's not in the little packet that they give you at the beginning of the school year.
And so, because of that, some of the school districts are limited. Some of the schools actually are limited in pathways. So just think like you're doing broadcasting. And whether you have a student that's very vocal or either not want to be in front of the camera, but maybe behind the camera, and very good at choreographing, making sure people know what the script is, putting the programming together and all of that, well, they would never be able to be exposed to that because that particular school may not even have that pathway. So now they're forced into going into a pathway that they really don't want to be in. And so they have 4 years that they're in that pathway. Just think, if they were in the pathway they really were interested in,
how they could excel,
how they can really excel, and how more internships. I mean, we have work-based learning in the schools, and all of them don't maximize even with that. We're working with the local businesses. So those are some of my focus areas: is how do we connect our students inside of those classrooms, inside those buildings, with the outside world beyond them going and patronizing those businesses.
So if you were one of those businesses and you wanted to connect with you, how would they do that?
Well, definitely they can go to my website, ghostovall.com, and you can click on sending an email. And then once I'm elected, we can definitely connect together. And even if whatever God chooses something different.
When you get elected.
Yes.
You said it right.
Yes. I'm still always involved. Even after I left office in 2020, I continue with my back to school, continue being involved in the community because that's just something I love doing.
I would like to say now, I would love it to have HITS partner with the Back to School in any way that we can, whether it's coming out and just, providing music and interviews or whatnot, or letting the kids feel,
That'll be great.
I would love to be a part of that. So we have each other's information, and you gonna be my new friend now,
Okay,
right?
yes,
Hey,
ma'am.
friend, how you doing? I love it. So, let's keep talking about this. So, what are the issues? What are the issues that you see for your district that need to be highlighted, or things that need to change?
So I'm in a unique situation because I have two counties, and two counties that are very, very different.
Okay.
So you have Clayton County that has historically, in the past, I would say 10 years, have not been at the level economically as far as economic development as it should. And then you have Fayette, which butts right up against it, that you could just drive over the county line and you see a whole different, community. So as a elected leader, that's always a challenge, but it's a good challenge because you look at what the positive things are in Clayton, what I call them jewels and assets, and then how do we maximize on those jewels and assets to be able to bring in those businesses that are going to be high wage earning. At the same time, how do we make sure that our residents have the workforce training that they need, so when those businesses do come in, they do have a viable workforce. And then with that, our education system, which is the foundation, has to be ready and on par with those businesses coming in, because they're always looking for projection of 3 and 5 years. What's my workforce going to look like? So being able to partner with our local school districts, also with our technical colleges, with them. And I'm going back to that apprenticeship program. So all the technical colleges across the state of Georgia have apprenticeship programs where they actually go out and help the businesses to create those apprenticeship programs at no charge to the business. So working kind of hand in hand, everything has to connect. And even going and looking into Fayette, where they don't have a huge issue when it comes to economic development. They just have a new studio, the Triller studio that's down there, a new data center that's coming, down there in Fayetteville. And
that's also where the hot fun zone is, right?
Yes,
fun spot.
Yeah,
and
that's
definitely bringing a
Right.
lot. Yeah. My daughter asked me to go there every week. My son is like, I don't want to go, and my daughter is like, nah, let's go. Like she wanted to roller coaster. But when I was down there, I could really see how it was bringing
revenue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
revenue.
definitely generating revenue.
So
and jobs too, because those kids have something to do too.
doing the summer.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, looking at that, and even with, I think across the board, the apprenticeship, program, and then strengthening our small businesses is another focus as well. Because America is made up about 60% of small businesses, and they're the ones who are hiring people that look like them in those businesses. So, after COVID, a lot of small businesses got hit really, really hard. Some didn't even reopen, and some had to open up and use a whole different method, of how they will operate business. But they still
They had to
struggling,
pivot.
right?
Yeah.
And so, as government, that's our job to make sure that we're giving the support that is needed through the SBA, through the Small Business Development Center. So just kind of utilizing all the tools that are there and making sure that our businesses are getting the support that they need, our residents are getting what they need, and then everything else falls in place. Even if you start talking about the whole healthcare crisis, a lot of it, and the housing crisis. If you look at some of it, is some stuff that definitely need to be changed in policy. And some of it is, I don't make enough money to be able to afford my health care. I don't make enough money to be able to afford a housing, decent housing. And then on the other side, you have the policies need to be in place with those that have not gotten to that part economically to be able to afford it, but that doesn't mean they need to live in any subpar housing.
Right.
And so we need to make sure that the landlords are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Nobody should live in a place where they have mold and mildew and they know they got to pay the rent, but then the landlord know they can't afford to go anywhere else. And they say, well, I'm going to put it on your credit that you just let up and left. Now, they value a big super company but they still need to survive. So there are things that, we definitely have to work on when it comes to policy-wise. But I think looking at it from the economic side of it, is those that are able to move up economically as well as higher wage earning, you go ahead and move with them. At the same time, you still have to balance that out with the support that you're giving. So you can't just say, I'm going to focus here and leave those alone over there on that side.
I can see that. I can see that. So for everybody who's out there who's watching and listening, this is definitely open for you guys to comment. You guys can put your comments in the comment section and we'll go ahead and we'll read those off and we'll ask those questions. But as always, we just have a very casual conversation and just try to get to know the candidates, because you can find these all around and they tell you what they stand on, but it's not until you really listen to them, not until, they get comfortable and they just let you know about their feelings, that you can really kind of see who they are. And that's the most important thing, because they are voting for you. You know what I'm saying? These people are here to represent you. And like she said, she's here to represent 2 counties. She's representing Fayetteville and she's representing Clayton County. So a couple of weeks ago, we actually had someone who's running for commissioner here. We had Dr. Eddie Jordan.
Okay.
And one of the things that he was bringing up was the housing issue in Clayton County. I'm always asking or interested in the squatters issues, but some of the things that I've noticed, I don't think that's Clayton. I don't think that's considered Clayton. I don't think that's in y'all district, but it's everywhere in Georgia. And like you said, you vote for all of Georgia. Sidewalks seems to be a non-existent thing. And if you have places where people live, you have pedestrians. If you have pedestrians, they need to be safe. You can't, people with wheelchairs, they don't have access to be able to go to the convenience store because there's nothing but gravel or the shoulder. And the cars is flying. You know what I mean? Mothers that have small children or have strollers, they can't access their neighborhoods. Tell us how or what you feel on that stance and what you be working for.
So everything starts with policy, no matter what. And like I said earlier, a lot of people say, well, what I need to vote? Why should I vote?
Mm-hmm.
It's because everything you do from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, there's a policy involved in it. Mm-hmm. And it's involved in your quality of living. Mm-hmm. So even getting down to the issues with the sidewalks, mm-hmm. there are policies that have to be in place, which are called zoning policy. Mm-hmm. And so to me, it's ensuring, even on the local, that's the other thing. You have to know which level your issue is on. Sometimes it's on the local, which is the city council, commissioners, and then other times it may be on the state level, maybe on the federal level, and sometimes it's all 3 levels. But you started on the local level.
And you were on the county commissioners before, correct?
No, I was just state representative.
Okay.
But I worked with all the local officials.
Okay.
And so when it came down to transportation, which that's in that category of the sidewalks, we had to work with them because on the state level, we had the Department of Transportation, which gives money that they get from the federal level, but they give money to the local levels to be able to do all the road construction, infrastructure, and all of that. And so when you're looking at new development, that part has to be a part of making sure those new developments are putting those sidewalks in properly, and that they are putting provisions in there for the handicapped. Because if they're making those sidewalks and the sides are too high, then if you have a wheelchair, especially if it's an electronic wheelchair, you're going to flip over. And that's what's happening a lot of times. I was seniors and I was disabled. And then when you're looking at the crosswalks of that, you have a timer. You need to extend that timer in those communities where there's more disabled people and more seniors are living, because they need to have time to get across that main intersection. And if they don't, they can end up getting killed or hurt or injured real badly.
Or not even that. I'm thinking of certain areas where the next intersection is 2 miles down. people aren't gonna go all the way to the intersection and cross there. They
Yeah,
gonna
walk
try
back
to
up.
right. They gonna try to cross in the middle of the road,
Right.
and so that creates an issue as well. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So in those instances, that's why you see in some communities where they have added additional sidewalks, well, not crosswalks,
Mhm.
and then they had the little flashing light.
Mhm.
And so, there was a state law that was passed that says that if anybody gets within that crosswalk, you have to stop.
Mhm.
Most people don't pay attention, but that's why they put those little flashing lights on the side to warn you, and then you mash the little button, letting everybody know who's driving, slow down or stop. You will stop when you see that person in there. So those are other things that have to be done in those communities where you have a large number of pedestrians living. Because like you said, they're not going to walk all the way a mile down and then come back up, for that. But those are local issues. But as a state elected official, I will work with the local officials, making sure that they are applying for those grant monies that are available, and not just for the sidewalk. Well, what else in that area? Can we create more bike lanes, and more walkable communities? And then with that, you want to make sure that the businesses are friendly as well, and people being able to get access in and out. So there's a lot of things that go into planning and development, and that's why it's important for community residents to be involved. Attend those council meetings, attend whether it's city council or county commissioners meeting, so you'll know what's going on. Don't stay and wait for somebody to tell you, because a lot of times that's too late.
I always ask this question: how we find out about them? Because I always find out about it the day of or 2 days afterwards. I found out, well, no, this time I can't lie and say this time. This time I knew y'all was going to be down at the Capitol, and I knew a couple days ahead of time, but it just so happened I was going to have to be here for somebody's show. And Karen the Connector, I don't know if you know her, heard of her, but she runs the Women of Douglasville's page, and she's very big and active out there. She let me know that they were going to be down at the Capitol this week. And I don't even know what it was down there for, but I know I wanted to be down there. But most times you don't find out about these community meetings until, they've passed and you find out what happened at them.
Afterwards.
What would you tell someone who wants to start being at these events, where they should start looking and who they should start networking?
Definitely go to your city or your county website. They have using newsletters that they send out. So sign up for the newsletters. And then they meet on a regular basis. So they're usually meet twice a month. So one time they may have a work session. And that's where they don't decide, or they just get information. And then the next meeting, they end up probably voting on it, and it'll be on their agenda to vote on. And usually sometimes their work session, they sometimes don't allow public comment, but they may have it at the regular business meeting. And so you find out, you can call to the city or county and ask, what are the rules for public comment? And it's very important that you participate in public comment. You usually have 2 or 3 minutes. Go write the stuff down before you get there. Time yourself as you to get ready. So when you're going up presenting to them, you're giving those facts. This is what I think this should happen. I disagree, or I agree with what you're doing. That's one way. With this state capitol, they're in session 40 days starting the second Monday of every January. And they're usually finished before the first part of April. Now, and outside that time, no laws are being passed in the state of Georgia. Now, on the federal level, they're there year round, but you don't have to worry about anything once that the speaker and the lieutenant governor sounds out or gavels out the session. That's it. No more laws are being passed during that time. That's important to remember, because sometimes you hear things coming up. People like, yeah, I'm going to go down to the Capitol and they're going to change that law. I'm like, you can go down there.
But ain't nobody there to talk to you.
The decision makers are not down there at that time. I mean, you can always schedule to see your elected official, but there's nothing going on during that time. And so it's important to know all of those tidbits when you're talking about saying you want to get involved, to know that on a regular basis, your city council and your county commissions are meeting every month, at least twice a month. And you might not, and then some of them they do online, so you can always go online if you don't want to physically go there. And then start talking with your elected officials, asking them to place you on some of the boards. So they do board assignments. So they have zoning board, like we're talking about with the sidewalks. They have economic development. They have health boards with your county board of health, the city health development authorities that they appoint people to. So all of them have different boards that they appoint people to. And whatever you're interested in or you have a specialty in, that's when you go and talk to them. Say, hey, I would like to be appointed the next round. I want to be appointed to this board. That's how you start getting involved, inside involved. Instead of just looking on the outside and always busted. Come with a solution. Because elected officials don't have all the solutions, I can tell you now. It's impossible to have a solution for every problem because you get overwhelmed. There are certain things, like for me, I do a whole lot in the space of business and in the space of education. But if you ask me some other stuff, I have an opinion, but then I'm not even
don't have an expertise.
Yeah, so one of the things I will be doing and continue to do now, being elected again, will be having an advisory council. So, wise leaders seeks counsel. And so, because I don't know everything, I want people who are either passionate in that area or have the experience in that area, that when issues come up or bills are coming up, I can say, hey, this is the bill that's coming up. What you all think about this? How you think I should vote? Yes, no, or go seek some more information.
Do you feel as though a lot of people who are elected right now, and I'm just going to say a lot of people instead of saying the word I'm thinking of, but do you think a lot of people right now are voting based upon their own ideologies and based upon how they feel instead of voting based upon what the public wants or needs, especially in things like abortion, women's health care? Like, it seems like more and more people are voting based upon their thought process.
Well, as humans, you're always going to have your own process. And that drives a whole lot as well. At the same time, you have to remember that it's just not you. And that you're there representing a whole mass of people that have different opinions. And this particular bill will affect different people in different ways. And so what you're looking at, okay, and most of the times when they're voting, I was voting, is what about the majority? How would this affect the majority? How would it affect the minority? And is it such a great, is it going to affect everybody in the worst situation, or, not as much as, it's going to hurt them, but not where it's detrimental to them. Because you're never going to have 100% on anything.
Right.
You're never going to have 100%.
Right.
And so that's the other balancing part that you have to have. And there have been times that I had to make some very controversial votes. And I didn't vote, directly with one side of, like, with my party, pertaining to education, because I believe that parents should have the choice on where they want their child educated. And it should not be based on their zip code where you have to go to this particular school. Or even if they have open enrollment, you still have, it's limited, of you getting into another school, how many kids actually, allowed in that school.
It don't even seem like open enrollment. It seemed like a lottery.
Yes. And then, so if you get pulled, you're able to go in, you're not, and that's a whole nother situation. So because of that, a lot of times I did not vote with my party. And then, so then there was backlash from that. Oh, you're not voting with the party. I said, the other stuff I voted with the party on. Why is it every time we talk about education or something else that I just don't think that you all are on the same page? And you have to also remember that there's always something behind the doors on every decision that's made. And what you have to do is decide who's making those decisions behind the doors that's driving that legislation or driving how everybody's going to vote to, as a totality. And so, that's probably, I would say, the most challenging part of being an elected official is, you have to be able to vote for what you think is best for your people that you serve. And sometimes it might not be the most popular thing among, your colleagues.
Woo! I promise you, I don't know if I need to run for anything, because I'm telling you, I be done said, why I voted for that. Because the other answer was stupid. You can't say stuff like that. You can't say stuff like that.
We have some people that now,
I'm Eric Mays. I got Eric Mays all up in me. I'm telling you right. I'm gonna be Eric Mays, and y'all don't need that in y'all life. Y'all don't.
sometimes you have to have those that's gonna kick the door down.
Yeah.
And then you have to have some of those that are the peacekeepers. And then you have to have those that's in the middle that I know when to kick the door down, and I know when to just keep peace. So I kind of fall in the middle. I can kick a door down and don't worry about the hinge on it. It's just laying there, and I'm not coming back to pick it up because it was something that happened that caused me to have to kick the door down. And there are other times I say, okay, this is not my battle. I don't need to fight this one right now. I come back another day and do it. And then there's times that, hey, I'm in the middle. I do a little kicking, do a little piece. It just depends on what the situation is. And so one of those areas was with Clayton County, we were not able to collect the jet fuel taxes from the airport. So,
and why not?
Yeah, so Clayton County, the airport sits about 80% land in Clayton County, but we don't own or operate. The city of Atlanta does. And that was something that happened way back when. I don't know how it all happened, but it happened. And so it's something that we're dealing with currently. And that was a federal aviation ruling, the FAA, that said that you only could collect sales tax, which is our SPLOST, where you can spend it. So you can collect it where you spend it. So we can collect it as a government entity because you're allowed to do that by state law. But the ruling said you have to spend it there. Well, we didn't want to spend it. We want to spend it throughout our whole county.
Right, because if you would have collected it, it would have to be spent in Atlanta.
Right, at the airport. Nobody lives at the airport.
Nobody.
Right. So you can't.
It's a lot of fun stuff to do up there, but nah.
Right. So and part of that money goes towards the county, the cities, and the school system. So if you think about it, we spend the money at the airport. What about our children that have certain needs that SPLOST money always went towards? That 1% went towards the education. And so because that was what was going on, and it had still been going back and forth, then I was one of the ones that took the lead to go and speak with the governor at that time about a stopgap grant for our county to kind of hold us over until that next SPLOST, until we could figure out and work on the federal level as far as what's going to happen with Clayton County. And Clayton County wasn't the only county. There were some other local counties as well, but Clayton was impacted the most because of the size of the airport. And then this is happening across the United States, so it's not just isolated to Georgia. There were other localities around the United States that were affected that could not collect that money as well. And so we were able to go in and get the governor to agree to $45 million. So part of it came out of our state budget, and then the other part Delta gave as a grant to the school system. But the whole total came to $45 million. So what that did, a lot of people might not understand it, is that allowed the local government not to raise taxes. Because if they didn't have the money, it's a deficit. And even now, they're still in a deficit. But at least at that particular time, as a temporary relief, we were able to do that. And so, so those are those times where you have to, hey, come on, y'all, we got to all rally together. And then that was one time where all the leaders worked together for that one goal: is how do we combat this that's hurting our community.
Well, since we're talking about leaders coming together for one common goal, we're going to go to a commercial break real quick. But when we get back from this commercial break, we're going to talk about TikTok. We're going to talk about TikTok. Now, I know that this was on a federal level, not on a state level, but I would still like your opinion. And maybe, just maybe, you can break down to, us laymen, what y'all are understanding that we don't understand. Because when I listen to people talk about TikTok, I hear people all the time say the same things. Like, China don't care nothing about what we doing on this app. Like, this is just a music app. Or what was the other one? China already owns different locations here in America. They own land, they own housing and stuff like that. Why does it matter if they're looking at our content, or they're downloading our information? Meta and Twitter and all of them already download all your information. I don't care if you don't know it or not. You logged into Temu got your information, baby. So maybe you can help us understand what it is about TikTok and why everybody was able to come together and vote for that, but we can't get them to vote for things like gun control or women's reproductive rights and things like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions or anything that you want to talk about or ask about, or if you are a Clayton County or Fayette County resident and have some questions, please go ahead and give us a call. No, don't call us because I can't reach the phone from over here. Put your comments in the comment section, please, because I can't get to the phone over here, okay? This is All Hustle, No Fear on Hits 92.3. The real definition of internet radio. Here is Ill Son with Rejoice featuring Harold Lee.
Ooh, yeah. I rejoice for y'all, cause my blessings around the corner. I rejoice for y'all, from New York to California. I rejoice for y'all, cause my blessings around the corner. And when he comes, you know he's coming for you.
I rejoice like being outside when the porch lights illuminate the space in the place where I was taught right. Never by sight, my fight is faith-driven. Bear witness, cause my mission is to see with clear vision. Good living, finger licking, sitting back, reminiscing like a premonition on things I thought I was missing as I listen to the word and understand God's plans. Let me see the congregation rise up and raise your hand, cause it's a celebration, a joyful occasion. When he part of the equation, his grace is amazing. Total meditation when I'm silently praying. Anything is possible, believe in what I'm saying.
I rejoice for y'all, cause my blessings around the corner. I rejoice for y'all, from New York to California. I rejoice for y'all, cause my blessings around the corner. And when he comes, you know he's coming for you. It's gonna get better, ain't no last forever. I don't care what the world says, I'ma still love him anyway. When I fall, you still stood right beside me and showed me the way. I just want to thank you, Lord, for every single thing you've done in my life. I rejoice in your name. Oh, I rejoice for y'all, cause my blessings around the corner. I rejoice for y'all, from New York to California. I rejoice for y'all, cause my blessings around the corner. And when he comes, you know he's coming for you.
I deliver to the church a few words to encourage. Treat my people like a preacher, how may I be of service? Never nervous, cause the king is with me everywhere I go. It's contagious, I'm courageous from my head to my toe. And I'm here to let you know that the Lord got a plan. So let me see the congregation rise up and raise your hand. Once again, yes I am, the man like Adam. The love God got for you is more than you can fathom. He's so good to his kids, I wanna reach out and grab him and put my arms around him like the rings around Saturn. Can't you see the pattern and the reason why I came? If you can, yeah, stand and rejoice in his name, yeah.
I rejoice for y'all, cause my blessings around the corner. I rejoice for y'all, from New York to California. I rejoice for y'all, cause my blessings around the corner. And when he comes, you know he's coming for you. I rejoice for y'all, cause my blessings around the corner. I rejoice for y'all, from New York to California. I rejoice for y'all, cause my blessings around the corner. And when he comes, you know he's coming for you.
My name is Dr. Siobhan Fleming, and I am a proud candidate for Clerk of Superior Court in Clayton County, Georgia. I'm a product of Clayton County Public Schools, Jonesboro High School alum, a resident of Clayton County for almost 30 years, raised in Lake Spivey, and now reside in Lovejoy. I hold approximately 25 years of administrative, business, and clerical experience, most right here in Clayton County. Administration is the backbone to any business. The clerk position is a vital piece of the court systems. Superior customer service, organization, follow-up, and increased digitalization is what I plan to bring to the system. Visit me on the World Wide Web at www.voteforfleming.com.
Why can't I run away from you? No, just say you won't.
But of course, I'm having lover's remorse. Climax after climax, and now I'm looking for my drawers. Oh, they on the floor. See, I got a pre-rolled in the car. It's crazy how feelings can change between yesterday and tomorrow. Your late 20s, they got you all up in my business. See, younger women be less likely to question my intentions. You feeling my vibe, you know this shit you came by. Even though it's still shit I can't buy, I'm gon' try. See, these days it's either real friends or the yes friends. Yes friends. These days it's either wear the ring or it's chase my dream. Fucking right, and I got a bad thing for the night. And tomorrow's a different story. See, that's the story of my life. But
hold you in my arms forever, but it wouldn't be long enough. Time is of the essence, yeah. But I'm running out. Why can't I run away from you? Why can't I run away from you? No, just say you won't.
oh, but of course, she always got a voice. With social media temptation, it means I'll always have a choice. I'm psychologically pre-wired to be mentally sex crazed. It got me eating the groceries, thinking back to my I don't give head days. I was young and naive, I was stuck in my ways. She said, most niggas do it and I'm just not acting my age. I know you worked your ass off for that new ass. You gotta show the world, let your phone be the newscast. Give me some more. I'm getting high, thinking of all of the shit that we did on the low. My tenderoni from Tinder be giving the love below. A high key. You willing to try me? You willing to bypass all of my shortcomings and kamikaze?
I could hold you in
I see.
my arms forever, but it wouldn't be long enough. Time is of the essence, yeah. But I'm running out. Why can't I run away from you? Why can't I run away from you? No, just say you won't.
Just say you won't. Just say you won't.
Are you in need of some tattoo therapy? Visit Studio 219 for your next tattoo or piercing. Studio 219 is located at 1900 Piedmont Road in Atlanta, just 1 mile from the Lynn Bird train station. Studio 219 is open Monday through Saturday from 12 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. and closed every Sunday. Book your appointment today by visiting www.studio219ink.com. That's studio219inc.com. Make sure to follow 219 on Instagram for promotions and specials at Studio219ink. Studio 219. Let us fix your creative itch.
All right, we're back. And as you can tell on them hot mics that I had said, what were we talking about when we left? And it was TikTok. So tell us your view. First, break it down to us what we not understanding or what we're missing on the whole TikTok legislation.
So with any bill, there are always different levels, when it comes down to it. So what I always would advise my constituents is never take at face value what you hear in the beginning. Mm-hmm. You have to go and dig a lot deeper into what really is going on. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, in America, we have freedom, we have all our constitutional rights. Mm-hmm. We have freedom of speech, which allows, organizations like the internet radio mm-hmm. and all of the media to be able to have shows just like this. Mm-hmm. And people being able to express and have the freedom of expressing mm-hmm. without the government having the overreach and what can and cannot be said. And so in other countries like, China, India, some of the others, okay, of course, the government has plays a huge role in what can be distributed out to its residents or its people. And so with TikTok, and having such a huge following, and has grown tremendously. I was looking at some numbers where it was $120 billion globally, and then 16 billion, in the U.S. And where even other countries have imposed some curbs on India. But what you have to look at is, are those other countries like the U.S.? So you can't say, well, India did it, another country did it. They're not like the U.S. when it comes down to having freedom of speech and being that freedom of expression. So you can't. That's one comparison you can't utilize like that. And of course, it's always concerned about security, homeland security, and how much access that's going to happen when you have foreign countries being able to have access to what's going on here in the U.S. Because
they say they're spying on us.
Right. When you think about it, we talk about a whole lot of things. And some stuff we don't even think about that we're talking about. That could be intel or information that can be utilized. Say, for instance, like we were talking about earlier, let's just make, trying to think of a subject that we talked. Let's say
infrastructure.
Infrastructure. And so, because if you're looking at what is one way to shut down a country, there are several areas: transportation, water, and air. So if you're able to infiltrate any of those things, and say, for instance, you have a TikTok show, a TikTok page, and say you even work for the state government or the U.S. government.
And I'm just on there doing my random TikToks and showing my job and okay. And
then what happens is then whoever connected to you, if I won't come to you directly, I may come to somebody else connected to you that's on your page that you've been chatting with. And then they don't have a loyalty to the government like you have because you're working there. And so it's all kind of other things that people may not even have thought about. They're just trying to shut us down.
I just thought of one. I watched this guy's TikTok, and the only thing he does is climb them towers, like the electrical towers, and he fixed the wires and stuff. What you just said, if I was thinking of a way to commit terrorism, I'm up high and get to see stuff that technically I wouldn't be able to see. So, okay.
And I can pay you some money, and you're not thinking of doing. And I'm not going to present myself as I'm the Chinese government or I'm another part of the government. Hey, I'm looking for somebody to be able to do this. I see on your TikTok you have all this experience. So I'm gonna offer you this, and not knowing that the device I'm gonna give you to install or do something has some other software behind it. So it is a major issue, and I can see why on the federal level, that they are very concerned, especially with it being a foreign country, a foreign company. So then when you even think about Facebook, the metaverse, and and all of those, they say, okay, they're an American company. We can regulate them. And you've seen where they had this Facebook.
They done took Zuckerberg to Congress before.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he had to come because he's a U.S. company. But if you're a foreign company, we can't force you to come over here.
So every time that the owner of TikTok, every time that he has showed up, he showed up on his own volition.
Well, and they probably put pressure saying, "Hey, if you don't come, then you may have violated all of these international laws." That means that because we're part of the G20 or whatever the amount is, that they all have international laws that you have to, if you're a part of it, you have to agree to it. And that's what's even going on with the war in Ukraine and all of that. So it's so much stuff, it's so much deeper that a lot of people don't even think about on the surface that you have to be concerned about.
Admin Anitra said, I think they thinking too much into it. If they wanted to spy, they could have put things in our cars and our electronics and everything else.
Well, that's a good point. But why have to even go through that when I have another way of having access? And something that you wouldn't even think about. In a car, you may say the car start acting up, you took it to the shop, take it to that particular shop, somebody else might find something. But when you're talking about being online and the internet,
your guard is automatically down
everything
anyway.
is going on in there. So I can see now. Do I totally agree? Maybe not. I think it may be some other ways, but because I don't have all the intel, I can't say they should do it like this.
Right.
They should do it. The same thing when I was a state elected official. There are certain things that I could not tell everything to my constituents because some part they would not understand, and it'll take a long time to explain it and go through it. And there are decisions that we had to make
based upon the fact that you don't understand everything that's going on into this anyway.
Right.
And I definitely can understand that, because that's why we hire you guys, is because you know more about this situation than we do, and you understand the laws better than we do. And so that it makes sense. Do you think, as far as the amount of money that TikTok has created for people, not for, entities, but the amount of money that TikTok has created for the everyman, is that going to go into consideration when they're deciding what to do with this? Because I personally believe that if the government takes over TikTok, depending on how it's regulated and what they do, or how they start to shadow ban you or whatever, people are just going to flee. They're just going to flee TikTok, and it's not going to be what it once was. I mean, just because you take it over don't mean we're going to stay. You know what I mean?
And I think even with that may be even overreaching, because like I said, if you say something that you're not, those, I'm gonna say, not say the government, those are the individuals,
powers that be,
that are behind the things, that are deciding, hey, yeah, you can't say this, you can't. When are we really free?
Well, I mean, that's the feeling that we have on Facebook right now. That's the feeling we have on, right. Because I'm gonna tell you, I will fight this tooth and nail, and I will keep this argument up for as long as it needs to be said. It does not make sense that I can't say, I'm gonna whoop your ass on Facebook in writing, but I can watch a video of somebody getting their ass beat. That does not make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me that somebody else could post something on Facebook and I laugh at it, but if I repost their post, then my page gets shut down. Well, how did you allow them to post that in the first place? So me reposting it is a violation, but it being up on my page for me to see them post it ain't. Right. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have a rule, it should be across the board.
Mm-hmm.
It should not be just depending on this entity versus that entity. If it's social media and we're allowed to say what we want to say, it should be across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have people that violate it, it needs to be across the board. Don't just pick and choose. Because I've seen some posts, I was like, now how they get away with that?
Baby,
but put somebody else in Facebook jail, they're out.
I just got out of Facebook jail.
Or that you have someone that imitated your account. Now you already have to send in all this information anyway. I had someone that imitated my Instagram account, and then it affected my Facebook, and I was shut down for 2 weeks. From that, so I had to go in. Then you try to go into Instagram,
and they make it so difficult to find everything.
Yeah,
they don't make it easy to find anything, and it's crazy because without us being on your app wouldn't make any money. Your app wouldn't be, what it is without the people. And so I don't know. Ooh, honey. See, the back of my head just started itching.
So what I would suggest everybody do is reach out to your Congress people on the U.S. House side and on the U.S. Senate side, and ask them to come to talk more about it. What is it so that it had to be a vote of 79 to 18? So there was some that disagreed with with it. So finding out those 18 that disagree, why did y'all disagree? With the majority. When it comes to, so it had to be a reason. And a lot of times you would hear that, we don't want to take away the right for businesses to exist. We don't want to take away the right for farm business to exist here to a certain extent, because sometimes they have products that we don't have here in America. And we don't have the capacity or the interest in producing some of those products. So that's why you have international trade and global, because we have global stuff marketing here in America that other countries don't. And so when we said we're not going to buy anything from somewhere else, it's okay. But we're not buying anything from America either.
Right. Let's see, we got some comments. Ranye said, Facebook gave me a violation when I posted my song Get High, but there be butt naked people all over my feed.
I don't have no comment, but I understand.
Well, speaking of Get High, let's talk about the regulation of cannabis. You were actually on a committee here in Georgia when it came to cannabis. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So I think it was back in 2013. So on the House and on the Senate side, you are appointed to different committees, and you work on those committees in a smaller group setting. Then, like on the House side, it was 180 of us, but on the committee it may have been 10 people on the committee, and that gives you an opportunity to kind of hear legislation that comes up specific to that committee. Mm-hmm. And so I was assigned to the medical cannabis study group. Mm-hmm. And so what we did was looked at in the state of Georgia, what kind of legislation would we impact or introduce dealing with medical cannabis. So not the recreational use of it, but for medical purposes. Mm-hmm. There was a a girl, her name was Haley, and she had been suffering from seizures back to back.
And her parents were having to go to Colorado drive out of state. But the issue was that even when they came back to the state with it, it was still illegal.
And driving through the other state.
Right.
Every time they drove through a state that they had not enacted legislation to allow for that oil, the medical cannabis oil, she could have been arrested and all kind of stuff. So it just so happened when she was driving back through, she never was arrested, but it could have happened. And so because she was a resident of Georgia, she talked to a couple of the legislators and said, this is an issue that I'm facing. And that's how most legislation ends up starting. Somebody had a problem. They went to the person who they thought could be able to help with that problem, who happened to be a legislator. And that happens on the local level, the state level, and the federal level. And that's why sometimes you have bills named after certain people, because those are those people that came to them. Like one of my, and I'm gonna get back to what we're talking about.
Like the Amber Alert.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
My first bill that I authored and got signed into law was House Bill 614, the Landon Johnson Act. And so what that did, Lala Johnson was a parent who had a child who was autistic that was nonverbal, and he had an accident where he had a long scratch on his face. And she asked the school how did it happen. They said it was a beanbag accident. She says, no way. Yeah, see how you were looking? There's no way a beanbag accident could have caused a long vertical scratch on his face. And so with that, she approached me. I saw her at one of the parent conferences. And she said, I need you to introduce a bill that allows video cameras in the classrooms of special needs students. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay. So it took a year to get the bill through the whole process. And so with this bill, it not only protects the children, but it protects the teachers, because they could be falsely accused. So now in the state of Georgia, video cameras are allowed. It's not mandatory, but they are allowed in special needs classrooms for self-contained kids. And those are the kids that stay in that classroom the whole entire time, because many of them are nonverbal, or if they are able to talk, when it comes to sequences or when something happened, they have it all mixed up. They can tell you something happened yesterday, but it really happened 5 days ago or something like that. So going back to the question you asked, was the Haley, that young lady, approached the legislator that lived in Macon. And so he took upon himself that, hey, we're going to work this particular legislation. It took about 2 years for the bill to actually come. And then there were other people that came along and said, hey, I have pain, like sickle cell.
Get Goody. He's down there a lot. Dr. Rashawn Hodge is down there a lot. It's a couple people that I know who are definitely, at the Gold Dome, right. And they are fighting. They're very active.
Yeah, and it's important because you have to understand, unless you're in that particular industry, you don't understand it. So it's always important to have people down there lobbying or voicing and educating the legislators. So anytime, don't get upset if they don't act like they don't understand. It's not something they specialize in. So it's upon you to make sure you educate them as much as possible about these are the pros, these are the cons, of it. And in your case, if you're saying, hey, we want this, to be legalized or allowed in, to be able to operate at whatever level, I have to educate that person on why it should be and how is it beneficial. Because at the end of the day, when they vote, they got to be able to give account as to why did you vote yes or why did you vote no. And so the more that you are like those individuals that are down there, I've met, some of them, and that's what I always tell them, make sure you educate the legislators on why, because they don't know there's not nothing that they specialize in. And so with the medical study group, one of the issues was the THC level. Okay. So there's a certain level that if it's too high, then you end up being too high. And so, and even though this was in the oil form, and it was just a drop on the tongue.
Translingual.
Okay, because I don't know all the terminology.
No, it's
okay. And so what it did for Haley and so many others is it decreased the number of seizures that she was having. Even with the sickle cell patients, it decreased their episodes that they were having. People that have fibroid myalgia. Yeah, it decreased the amount of patients. So it's a whole list, and every year they would amend the bill and add in more to that. So then
I believe they just tried to add PTSD to it, right?
And so then as we move forward with the state, of course, it's still not legal on the federal level. And I think we were talking earlier about the changing of the schedule on it. And then, so because you got some states like Colorado and California, I think, and some other states, they have legalized it. But when you leave out that state and you go to another state, it's illegal. So it's not across the board, with that. And even here in the state, we introduced legislation to be able to allow for the growing and research of it. Not for commercial sale of it.
But we have dispensaries because there are locations that you can walk into and you can buy cannabis. Now, whether or not y'all know or not, but they let you know that it's got THCs in them. You know what I mean? And so it's so weird because it's like this. I get asked this question all the time and I don't know how to answer it. Is cannabis legal in Georgia or Atlanta? And that's the question. Is it legal in Georgia? Nah, I would say no. Is it legal in Atlanta? Kind of. But it's such a weird gray area.
Yeah. And I think, too, the terminology makes it different.
Right, because so decriminalized versus legalized.
Right. So if you say marijuana, then that's looked at different than saying cannabis.
But they're the same thing.
Right, but it's all in the terminology. So whenever...
Wait a minute. So...
Now think about this.
Legislatively,
yeah.
There is a difference between cannabis and marijuana.
If you think about it, like I told you, the study committee I was on, it didn't say marijuana study group. It said medical cannabis. And even when you're looking through some of the legislation, you go back and look at it, you always see cannabis. And you may see marijuana, but most of the time you will see cannabis. So it's all in the a lot of times with terminology, and even if you're looking at bills, certain words you'll hear something say shall or may. Those two different things. Shall means it has to take place. Every time you see shall in a bill. May means
it could.
So when I was talking earlier about the movement that Georgia has made towards cannabis, is we now have where it can be grown and researched and it's only limited to certain land grant universities, which are those universities like agriculture universities. And there are only two that can do it, Fort Valley, and I think University of Georgia is the other one. And then you have those large businesses that'll be coming in as well, but then there's a limit to that. You have to have, I think it's been a while since I looked at the bill, but you had to have like a minimum of $1 million that you were able to invest in too, and then there were different levels. So the smaller person that didn't have that kind of money, you can hang it up.
That small farmer.
That's not for you. And I know they've been, moving towards changing some of it little bit by little bit, but the whole thought when you hear the word marijuana, it changes the whole dynamics of the thought pattern.
Really?
Than you saying cannabis.
So marijuana is basically the recreational side of it.
Right.
I just learned something, y'all. I just learned something because I use that word, and then of course weed. I use all three of those words interchangeably. They all mean exactly the same thing to me. Whether, for me, it doesn't matter if you're consuming cannabis or consuming marijuana recreationally or medicinally, you're going to get the benefits of it both ways. Unless, no, you're not. No, you're not. Because depending on the cannabinoid, it might have such a low THC level that you don't receive anything recreationally in the sense of, This is why I love this show. And this is why I love the conversation being so casual, because it can just flow into what it needs to flow into instead of somebody saying, I want you to touch on this point, this point, this point, this point, and this point. And I don't want you to talk about anything else. Right. And it's like, but you don't give your brain a chance to really let those connections happen. Right. Because now I want to be vigilant about how I'm using the word. If I am talking about a medicine, or if I'm talking about it medicinally, then it needs to be called cannabis. If I'm talking about it on the recreational side of it, then it's weed or marijuana. Thank you for that.
Yeah, because if you think about it, all the stores that do have cannabis, you never see them say marijuana.
I'm going to pay attention now.
Because
they don't say marijuana dispensaries.
Marijuana
they say
is illegal because of the schedule, high schedule.
Yes, Professor Cannabis. Oh, well, her name. But she's also an advocate and be downtown all the time. She said stigma is real. Stigma is real. Yes, ma'am. You're absolutely right about that. The stigma is real. Okay, we've got some people here and they are making comments. Oh, wow. Okay, so Natural Way 365 said it's 3%.
Hey, Natural 365, Miss Carolyn.
Yes. That's my baby. That's Cece. That's who I was asking.
Okay, that's Cece. I don't know her as Cece. I know her as Carolyn.
Oh, okay. So like I was saying, Cece, did you, we were trying to figure out who referred her. Was it Bonnie or was it you? And I was like, I think it might have been my friend Cece. And she was like, I don't know no Cece. Right.
Now, you said Natural 365. I know exactly who
that is. Yeah. But she's saying that it's 0.03%. And I believe she's saying THC that can be present. And anything over that, it's a wrap. Right. Okay. She said, how do we get federal changes?
Talking with your federal elected officials and those who are running those departments. Because let me tell you, one of the issues, I know we're going to, but it comes up all the time, is how long someone should stay in office. So what happens it happens on them on all levels, but you see it more prevalent on the federal and state level when you have people that work in those departments. They're called bureaucrats. And they're actually the ones that are influencing the elected officials, because the elected officials don't know. They're not in that department every day running it. So they're depending on the advice or recommendations from those in those departments. So if you're not getting to them, who are then influencing the elected officials, then you kind of just talking on one side. So you go and finding out, okay, who's the executive director in that department? Okay, when we talking about agriculture, because this is where it falls into agriculture, and then it also falls on the criminal side, as well as criminal justice side of You might have like the Justice Department. So you're having to hit both of them at the same time. You're hitting the Agriculture Department because they're the ones that are saying, hey, this is it could be good for our community. It's good for the soil. It's good. A lot of stuff that we have, cotton and all kind of other stuff that we utilize is made from, some portion of it, or it could be made from it.
Right.
Or it could be better if we utilize it more, and that's one of the reasons we're doing the research at the research institution. What else use can we have of cannabis?
Oh man, don't let me go down the list of line, because I can go down the whole list of textiles.
But if the bureaucrats who are the ones that are in these departments, and remember they've been there 20, 30 years.
So they remember reefer madness.
Right, but when you look at it, as an elected official, like on the U.S. representative side, you're elected every 2 years. Your senator is elected every 6 years. So it's a chance that the person that's elected now could end up being not elected before. And so even if they
you
try
to start all over again.
Right.
You got to start all over again.
So that's why I said if you work with the ones that are elected and plus the bureaucrats, then you should probably see a better, greater change, because when somebody come in fresh and new, they don't know nothing. So they depending on those
that
folks in those
bureaucrat
departments
to tell you everything.
to tell them everything. And they don't necessarily mean they're going to tell them the truth.
And not
they're going to give them their side that they've been doing all of this whole time. Or if they want to see a change, they'll say, oh yeah, we did this, but now we need to change it like this. So that's just an inside tip.
And then you're not even adding in special interests and lobbyists and everything else.
Those who, it's important to them monetary wise that it either fails or it goes forward, that it passes. So that's always, and that's on every level. That's even on the local level, because somebody has an interest in it. Now, it could be a good interest. It could be a bad interest. But they have an interest.
Depends on what side of the fence you on.
Right.
Too. With their interest. Yeah. So let's see if we got a couple comments here. Professor Cannabis said Congress is in recess and you need to reach out to your House reps and senators. It matters. He also said that as someone who straddles the words of stoners and corporate and marketing, you gotta have the verbiage correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And I never realized that, because I use those words interchangeably, because it's like flower and rose and whatever the genus is of rose to me. You know what I mean? Like I never thought of it in the sense of legislature, and if you say it this way, I'm gonna look at it completely different. So going forward, it's the fact that we want marijuana legalized. We want marijuana rescheduled, because we want it not, if it's rescheduled, look, this my view for real. If it's rescheduled recreationally, it's automatically going to be rescheduled medicinally. It just falls in. But if it's only rescheduled medicinally, you're still going to have issues recreationally. So for everybody to get the benefit, it has to start from one side to the other, in my mind. Now, let enough people come in here and sit down and have this conversation with me, and somebody might convince me otherwise and be like, nah, we got to start this way and work the other way, and this is why. And that's fine. But we all, like she said, we all have different
plan.
Right.
And my recommendation is that all those that are in that space have to be on the same page. Even though you may differ a little bit in how it's executed out, you got to be on the same space. And so if you know that the flavor of those who are going to have to make that vote is that they feel negative anytime they hear the word marijuana, you leave that alone for right now.
Right.
You educate them on the cannabis part, what's the benefit of it, and then you get that going. And then once they're able to see, oh, but that's related to that. Yeah.
No, that's what I've been trying to tell you.
Right. But you have to meet them where they are, because if you try to force feed them, that's how even with a child, they're going to spit it back out. And that's what you've been seeing, is they're spitting it back out.
So Natural Way says that's a whole gray area right there with that terminology. And yeah, I just learned something. Ranye says we have to vote for people that legit want our interests. I agree. And that's why I'm trying to have as many people on here as possible before voting. So tell us, while I read some more of these comments, tell us some more about when voting is and how they can vote.
So early voting starts on Monday, April the 29th. So it's very important that if you don't want to, some people just like the big thing of voting on election day. That's fine. But you better hope don't let that happen on election day between that 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or you're going to miss your vote. So, there are times I like to just go on that day. But when I'm campaigning, of course, I go early because I never know what's going to happen. And that'd be bad for me not to be able to vote for myself. So there's early voting going on.
And where can you early vote?
Yeah, so the best thing to find out is contact your county elections board office. So if you live in Clayton, you Google Clayton Election Board. If you're in Fulton, you're Fayette, you Google that because they have a whole list of certain locations. So you're not going to your precinct for those 4 weeks. So it's April the 29th through May the 17th. There's a Saturday voting and then there's a Sunday voting that's allocated. Not every Saturday, not every Sunday. So if you look on their website, you can't go wrong. And when you go, bring your government issue ID with your picture on it. It could be your state ID or it could be your driver's license. And you're going, and it doesn't matter whether you stay at that particular precinct district because it's open for everybody. If you live in that county, you can go to any of those early voting sites. Now, you want to make sure on election day, you have to go to your precinct. If you don't, there's a chance your vote will not be counted. So to find out where your precinct is, you could Google My Voter Page, Georgia My Voter Page. On there, when you get to that site, you put in your first initial, last name, your date of birth, and the county where you registered to vote. It'll bring up your profile. It'll show you when you start voting, your address and all that. And then you can click on my polling location. And then it'll tell you exactly where to go on the day of election. Don't go there for early voting because that may not be the one that's open. So it's a lot of education that the voter has to make. And you can also get a sample ballot, which is very good.
Because then you can go look up all those people.
You can take the paper with you when you go into the poll. So you print it out, or you can tweet whatever you want to do. You go by and check out all. Be looking at area, like she said, go and Google.
That's a good idea. I like that.
See what they said that they're going to do. They maybe have a different events. Go pop up, ask some questions, and everything.
Interview them.
Right, interview them. And so then that way you have a better outlook of who it is that you want to vote for. Then when you go in, you're not taking that long. Now, you might be in a little line, but early voting, you don't have a whole lot of lines.
I ain't stood in the line to vote yet. I am 41 years old. I promise you, and I think that's to my detriment in a way because, like you said, don't wait till the last minute because all this. I be like, shit, I'm just about to walk in and go ahead and vote. Like even with the last vote that I just did, just a couple of weeks ago, I voted. Yeah,
it was a special election.
It must have been, but it was in Fulton County. But just a couple weeks ago, I walked out. I said, "Hey, husband, I need you to drop me off real quick because I didn't have my car wasn't working. I need you to drop me off real quick so I can vote." The kids in the car. My husband, look, that's another story. I'm gonna get him there eventually, but right now, I hold myself accountable. Okay, this is my civic duty. His civic duty is between him and his ancestors. I'm showing my kids that I vote and that I care. Okay. So, anyways, I walked in before he had a chance to come back around and really find a parking space. I was damn near done walking back out. And he was like, it wasn't nobody in there. It was about 4 people in there, but they got 8 things. Right. You know what I mean? We good. So, make sure you know what it's like in your neighborhood, though. Because I have seen on the news where people are standing outside. And I've seen some of the craziest things. Like, they say you can't hand out water now or something like that.
They changed. You can hand it out.
I was going to say...
So,
we are people. Like, y'all voting against humanity at this point. That is dumb. It's hot. people outside. You got people Meemaw out here trying to vote, and you telling me it's against the law to hand Meemaw some water?
But let me tell you the other part to that. Not saying that I agree with it, but I can tell you the other side of it that sometimes people don't think about. So, say for instance, I'm running for office. Mm-hmm. And okay, you have to be within 150 feet
away from the
voting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, say for instance, beyond that 150 feet, there's a line. Mm-hmm. I get someone some bottled water. Say I put my name wrapped around the water. Now they haven't finished the water before they get to the 150 feet. They still drinking it. And guess what? Everybody looking at my water that I got my tag on. So that's a sneak way of I'm campaigning. So like I said, the ordinary person would never thought about that.
Because I did. Right. Only thing I saw was Meemaw thirsty. Right. I'm going to give Meemaw some water.
Right. So there's always, like I said, you never take it at face value. It's always something behind it. But for those who are in Clayton County or Fayette County, you can go to my website, GoStovall.com, and I have all the early voting locations on there for Clayton and for Fayette County. So you can go to any one of those. And definitely you can follow me on social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm even on Nextdoor.
Oh, okay.
As well.
I just got on that through the Ring app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they have some interesting things that are
you be knowing what's going on. Yeah. Yo, you be like, y'all telling everything on here. Hey, they do not play on that Nextdoor app. This one lady was like, somebody was in my backyard.
Right.
I was like, that's what
yeah.
Okay. Ranye said it best when he said, if you have not sat down with your congresswoman or congressman, I highly suggest it. They are servants to the people. That's how I got my VA stuff fixed when I went into the Congress office and had a sit down. Also, Natural Way 365 said, you got my support, Stovall.
Thank you.
We only have a few minutes left and we have to get out of here. But before we go, please, you got 3 minutes to stand on your soapbox and tell them everything that you need to tell them as to why they need to vote Stovall. So,
well, beyond listening to this interview today, and I definitely thank you, Sunshine, and Hits 92.3 for allowing me to come on and provide my platform. I am Valencia Stovall. I have 8 years as a state legislator where I was able to pass and introduce over a dozen bills that have actually been signed into law. And also I have 30 years as a community servant and 30 years as a small business owner. So combined with all of that, I am the best and the perfect candidate to be able to service you at the state capitol on District 34 coming in May as far as the primary election. So we need your vote. Go to my website, GoStovall.com. And if you would like to donate to the campaign, we have to get signs out. We have to get information out about the candidacy. Some people don't even know we're in the election. So we have to make sure they're informed because we want them to be an informed voter and be an active voter, being able to be in the process and participate in the process of election. So I definitely would like your support, most importantly, your prayers for this election. And I'm just excited, about this opportunity to be able to return back to the state capitol. I have a relationships that I have built over the years that I'll be able to now take part of again. And even when I went down to visit, I'm very community involved. One of the second piece of legislation that I introduced was House Resolution 279 that designated March the 21st as Single Parents Day here in the state of Georgia. And every year we recognize single parents. They're nominated. We bring them to the state capitol. And then we also host a banquet through National Leadership Group. So you want an elected official that cares about the people, that has a proven track record that you can go and check. You can Google my name. You'll see everything that I've done over the years and things even outside of not even being elected. And that's the type of person you want, who you know is going to be there for the people, who's bold and accessible.
Hey, I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you coming in because I've been putting it out there and telling people, hey, if you need a soapbox, I've got one for you to stand on. So each and every candidate that comes out and gives us their time, it means a lot to me, and it says a lot to me as well. And it should say a lot to you as well, because it means they're trying to get out there to speak to you. Some people don't care. They like, you gonna vote and they gonna get your vote just because they've been on the ballot before, or just because they know not enough people gonna show up and they just gonna win just because. I want to be the tipping point to change that. Y'all are educated and informed voters. That is what's most important. Okay? Getting you to the polls, we gonna get you there. Okay? But I want you to know who you are voting for while you are there. Just going in and just checking whoever or just picking the incumbent, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. You have to be informed about who is running and why they are running. Y'all, this is All Hustle No Fear on Hits 92.3. I've got to get out of here, but you already know we got a ton of shows on this platform that are dope that you need to stay in tune with. Coming up next, we have Forever I Love Atlanta with April. She will be telling you all things Atlanta history, Atlanta music, like just anything you ever wanted to know about Atlanta. This is the show for you. Later on in the day, we have Pushalini2God.net and Stoner Brown talking everything sports. And I believe last night was the NFL draft, so they're probably going to have a lot to say, fellas. Also, you can tune in to the Pink Link show at 12. And later on in the evening at 6, we have the 3 Phi Ladies of Phi Radio. This is All Hustle No Fear on Hits 92.3. I'm going to let you listen to some music on the way out, and I will see you on Monday. What are we going to listen to? Here's my little brother, Joey H. and OG Vern with Heavy.
Like Khloe Kardashian face, finding all the ways to dodge all the dismay. I've been through the fire, flames, etc. They came and went involved in these combustions like I'm blazing, can't amaze it when I'm catching on. They missed the beat, but now they catching on. I bring the heat, but I got a curve, a call to catch her off. Another sign to hit another line drop, ringing off, clear the base, finna roll with pitches like I'm Carl Croft. This a wonderful life. I come alive with the stars. But what I run from the night? Sci-fi ghosts. Turn the cake off TV rolls. TNT, the bomb when this CD blows. It's like everything I ever wanted is coming, I promise. But I'm lying. Son of game like Austin in his prime. Justin Jefferson. Jamar chasing all my goals like I'm teed up. Check me or I gritty in the zone like. Fly at the sky, I'ma shine like a star do. Gotta make plays, run it up like a boss do. Pull strings like a boss do. Heavy as the hand, hold the crown as I walk through. Fly as the sky, I'ma shine like a star do. Gotta make plays, run it up like a boss do. Pull strings like a boss do.
It's the boss, the Mac, smelling like some pack, coming through the back, and they going crazy when we running. This ain't that. But that ain't this, me and Joey like Kobe Shaq. Hey man, this 4 summers running, we ain't never gon' stop running shit. Bench players talking, knowing all they do is run and sit. I've been having dreams, it's me, Hakeem with double colorness. Had to sit back and let this rap shit get fun again. Oh dog, I'm back, but I ain't never leave. The same nigga just came back in here with better weed and some cheddar cheese. Tell him check the board. I don't know how many times I told him check the score. Trying to scratch me out the records like I'm Reggie B. How they gon' try to steal the swag when I'm already me? We catchin' plays like Randy Moss, it ain't false. If you wanna learn, I can show you how to be the boss.
Fly at the sky, I'ma shine like a star do. Gotta make plays, run it up like a boss do. Pull strings like a boss do. Heavy as the hand, hold the crown as I walk through. Fly as the sky, I'ma shine like a star do. Gotta make plays, run it up like a boss do. Pull strings like a boss do.
go. That's the end of the show, but you already know. Don't do nothing I would do, and if you do, take pictures.